Even you have the right to sue. In case I am your counselor and I breach the confidentiality, you have the right to go and sue me.
Where do you seek the right support? If I go to my friend, the next thing, that story will be all over.
Everything has a limit.
What are these mental disorders do we have?
But one of the most common, it's the behavior, it's the substance use addiction.
Is the imbalance of physical, emotional?
The word psychosis comes from the word psych. Psych is the mind. Osis means the unwellness.
I have anxiety. Is it that when I have anxiety, I have a mental issues?
How do you know someone is experiencing mental health?
Hello guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. This is your safe place for mental health and well-being. I'm your host, Psychologist Millicent Mbogwa, and I'm glad to be having this conversation once more. I hope you're going to enjoy. Kindly like, share, comment, and subscribe. I am delighted to be joined today by the chairperson of Kenya Counseling and Psychological Association, Nyeri County, and he's also the manager of ADN, Christ the Good Shepherd Rehabilitation and Wellness, Nyeri County. And his name is none other than John. He's a psychologist also. His name is John Marangu, and I'm going to welcome you today. Welcome, Psychologist John Marangu.
Thank you so much, Millie, for hosting me today as we talk about this very important topic, mental illness. As a clinical psychologist and mental health practitioner, I really appreciate such a forum where we are able to give people information about mental illness, mental health, which goes quite a distance in helping them and motivating people to seek help and also help others who are passing through this. So what is mental illness? Mental illness is when someone is in a balance, that is a psychological, physical, emotional. We call it equilibrium, when everything is in balance. Yes, whatever people say about maybe experiencing challenges, mental challenges and all that, our people don't know much about mental illness. So anytime we mention mental illness, someone thinks it has to be maybe having some things like psychosis, experiencing some mental health challenges, which have to be major, because yes, even the major ones are mental health challenges. But mental health begins as low as not experiencing emotional, psychological, physical, and psychological balance. As easy as that. So anyone, let's say someone is sick maybe from malaria or any other condition, once your body is unwell, you're also not psychologically well. So that's the minimum definition. We also mentioned something around the cultural basis. In case someone behaves in a way that they are not expected to behave, then we might deem them as people who might have some mental illness challenges here and there. I know we are going to delve much more into the common mental health disorders, mental illness disorders. We have some that are ambiguous, we have others that are not very much ambiguous, easily manageable, and all that. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. So we can say it's like the imbalance.
Yes. Right. Yes. When someone, there's a difference between a mental health and then mental disorders. So when you say you're mentally healthy, that shows you have an equilibrium, you have a balance, both psychologically, physically, and emotionally. But when someone says they have a mental disorder now, before we delve deep into the specific mental disorder, it's actually the absence of the three.
You said that mental health is the imbalance of physical, emotional, and also psychological.
Yes.
So my question is, what are these mental disorders do we have? Because we might be having a disorder even don't know that is a disorder. So what are type of mental disorders that we may experience?
We are going to delve and look at them at different aspects. We have some psychiatric, we call them psychiatric disorders. We have also some behavioral disorders. We have issues like addictions, because they also lie with mental health, in the category of mental health issues, the disorders that we have. But I'll look at some of the common mental illness challenges and issues and disorders that we have in our community and also in our localities, those that we can see. And maybe later on we are going to look at their symptoms and what happens with that. One of the most common mental health issues that we have, and it's a disorder we call drug and substance use, which lies behind the addictions. Because we have behavioral addictions, we have substance use addictions, but one of the most common, it's the it's the substance use addiction. Mm-hmm. That is, people get addicted to using substances like alcohol, marijuana, cigarettes, all that. And when we talk about behavioral addictions, we have addictions like people who are addicted to things like pornography. The people who are addicted to, we talk about the compulsive shopping, especially the ladies. You know, it's still a problem. We have many behavioral addictions. And then we have now delving back into the psychiatric and the mental health disorders like depression. Depression is a mental health disorder where someone experiences very low manic episodes and moments, low moments. At times they might want to isolate themselves. The normal stress. In case I get stressed today, after some time, in case I don't seek for help, that one graduates. And slowly I might get myself to depression. You know, we have conditions like bipolar mood disorder, when someone experiences both high and low moments. Right away I'm very much happy, and some other moments I just want to be by myself. And some other moments I'm very hyper, you know. That's why the word talks by having two moods, high and low. We have a condition we call schizophrenia, and it's very common. The so-called wendawazimu, you know, schizophrenia. It can either be brought around by psychological factors, environmental factors, but mainly it also lies in the genetics. Some families have schizophrenia, and all these conditions, especially schizophrenia, is manageable, but it's chronic. It never heals. But you have to live, to use medications, treatment, all through. We have a condition we call drug-induced psychosis, and also that is very common because people don't differentiate drug-induced psychosis and schizophrenia. Because drug-induced psychosis, just as the word goes, it's a psychosis that has been induced by usage of a substance. And the word psychosis comes from the word psych. Psych is the mind. Osis means the unwellness. Like just like in medicine we talk about hepatitis, inflammations, and now osis talks about when something is unwell. So when the psyche is unwell, and why is the psyche unwell? Because of using substances. So we have marijuana-induced psychosis and alcohol-induced. The most common is marijuana-induced psychosis. When people smoke weed, the marijuana, and then they get the psychosis. But once the psychosis, the marijuana is withdrawn, when someone stops taking that, chances are the psychosis might go away, maybe with some support from a psychiatrist and also maybe a clinical psychologist and all that. So those are some of the common mental health conditions we have. We'll talk about anxiety. We still have anxiety disorder when someone experiences high levels of anxiety. I'm trying to look at some of the common ones. I think we have mentioned some of the common, especially the ones we have in our communities, and these are conditions that we come across as clinicians, as psychologists, as counselors, as mental health practitioners on our day-to-day occurrences, and even our viewers might ascertain that they have met such a person who might have one of such problems, and of which them getting such information will become of great importance and benefit to them. Thank you.
I'm glad you've mentioned. I know someone will ask out there, I have anxiety. Is it that when I have anxiety, I have a mental issues? Or there is a limit to which it...
There's a level for everything. Anxiety is common. Just like when we talk about addictions, I know we still have social users, but there's a level that in case you cross, everything has a limit. So we do something we call psychometric assessments. We do psychological assessment. When a psychologist tells you that they're going to do a psychological assessment, they want to know what are the levels. It can be either be mild or even worse. It can be little, maybe requires little attention. It can be severe, which might require also a lot of attention. So anxiety is common, but in case, just like stress, stress is common. Everyone has stress. Yes. But now, the difference is, do you have stress? Do you have distress? Stress is the good stress. Distress is the bad stress. So there is a very thin line between the both. Once you cross some levels of anxiety, and anything is problematic when it interrupts you from doing your day-to-day occurrences. If I experience anxiety to the level that I'm not able to get out and go and do my stuff outside there because I'm afraid something might happen to me, then that is problematic. But there are scenarios that we might experience some mild anxiety, which is actually not experiencing that anxiety could be the problem.
Yeah. I would like to ask, how do I know I'm experiencing mental health? Also, I might be living with my sister, my child, my husband, my colleague, your wife, your child. How will we know that these people are experiencing mental health? You see? And how do I know I'm also having an issue with mental health? And what are these risk factors to check for that can bring these mental health issues to our lives?
How do you know someone is experiencing mental health? And remember we said mental health is having good mental health. And then how do you know someone is experiencing mental health disorders or challenges? It's broad, but I will give some of the common. And I'm not saying that actually the first thing you should do is seek help. If you sense you might have something, but I want to help you understand, how do you sense? Now, in case it might be very rare for someone to know they are experiencing a challenge themselves, but it might be very easy for you to know someone is experiencing a problem. Number one, the people, you might realize someone no longer enjoys what they used to enjoy previously. Let's say it's your husband. He used to wake up as early as possible, dress up for work. By 7:30 he is out. This is our time. Melala na yeye mpaka 10:30 amelala kwa nyumba. No motivation. That's a change. There must be something. Number two, isolating yourself, or someone isolating themselves. Maybe someone used to really enjoy the company of other people, used to eat with you in the sitting room, your children used to stay with you, and at some point, actually even for children, I know one time you're going to look at that, at this point now this person no longer wants to stay in public, doesn't want to share places, wants to dine by themselves. That's another red flag. Shows that someone is experiencing a challenge. Now, when you look at issues like substance use, in case someone begins taking or consuming substances high level than they used to do previously. Maybe someone was a social user. Maybe they would take a Guinness once in a month, and all of a sudden they're drinking on a daily basis. Yes, pia usafi. Once you realize that someone has begun, they were clean, they used to take showers every time, but all of a sudden, hata umeanza kusikia ka harufu, and si harufu, you might notice a lot of unkemptness, because now that shows something is happening, and that is common amongst people who are experiencing depression and stress, and conditions like psychosis. Once you realize someone is doing funny things also, they have delayed speech. You might realize someone cannot communicate well, that is psychiatric. But for the psychological ones, when you talk about issues like depression, substance use disorder, anxiety, every condition, every disease, every disorder has its own symptom, but we have the common ones. Isolation, because someone might isolate themselves, let alone you might hear they have tried suicide because they're experiencing very solitary moments that they don't want to seek help. Not because they don't want, but whatever is running through their minds, the disease part of them is guiding them. Whatever, if it's my wife or you or your husband or someone else, maybe someone really wanted or really liked to cook, to prepare meals, and at some point they no longer enjoy that activity. All that. If it's for children it's very sensitive also, because children experience some psychological disturbances, including if it's, I normally talk about that, maybe you are a caregiver and you notice that your child, each and every moment that maybe you go away, you're going to work, you might experience, there is the normal level, maybe a child might miss you and they are crying, but now you might notice some disturbances, and maybe they are afraid I might be left back home with auntie, and maybe auntie does something wrong to me. That might be stressing to a child, but to us and to the people around, for substance use, we have talked about them. For depression, we also have that. And for the psychosis and the schizophrenia, people experience hallucinations. The hallucinations and delusions, it's when you see things that are not there. You hear voices that are not there. You might be here and someone tells you, nimesikia umeniita. Like, okay, sijakuita, Did I see something, all that. Hallucinations and delusions. Others will complain, especially with there's a condition we call schizoaffective. Maybe anasema anasikia vitu zinatembea, zinaingia mahali, all that. Once you realize that, and especially for schizophrenia and schizoaffective and psychosis, that one is evident with everyone. Because utaona too, this person is, because the word normal, the word normal, in psychology we are unable at times to differentiate what is normal and what is abnormal. But now, once you realize something that doesn't work out so well with someone, with your culture, whatever they are saying, because when someone experiences such conditions like psychosis and all that, they might talk about things that you don't understand. They might do things in the wrong way. They can't coordinate simple tasks, all that. So those are some of the basics. But I really encourage the viewer, don't take it on your hands. Once you realize someone is exhibiting such symptoms, the only thing that you're supposed to do, you can always support them and help them seek help. For the gross ones, at times it might be even involuntarily, because now at some point someone doesn't know they have a problem. But there are those that once you give them feedback and you tell them, Millie, I have noted that since yesterday or since last week you've been isolating yourself. Could you maybe share with us, or would you be comfortable to see a therapist? Okay? Someone might admit. But now when you talk about the gross ones, those ones, they are aggressive at times. Someone who has taken marijuana and they're experiencing a psychosis, you can't reason with them. You might require some psychiatric support.
People don't know where to seek support from. Because people will tell you, I have an issue, but if I go to my friend, the next thing, that story will be all over. You said seeking support. Where do you seek the right support?
Thank you. That's a very brilliant question. I'll talk about the counselors and the psychologists, especially now in Nyeri. I'm the chairperson of around 200 counselors who are certified, who are qualified, who are licensed by the Kenya Counseling and Psychologist Board. And counselors, we so much concentrate on confidentiality. And actually, viewers, it's always, I normally try to psychodocate us and tell us even you have the right to sue. In case I am your counselor and I breach the confidentiality, you have the right to go and sue me. But our counselors are good. You can always reach out to us. As the chairperson, I can be able to direct you if you need a child psychologist, if you need adult psychologist, an addiction psychologist, a clinical psychologist. We have a pool of them who are available, including Millicent yourself. You're part and parcel of us. She's our member. So we have counselors. But what if you can't see a counselor? Please don't die in silence, because now I know counseling is paid for, and I advocate for people to pay for sessions, because that is how even the counselors earn our life. You know that there are others that can give pro bonos, but in case you are unable to reach out to a counselor, you can also reach out to someone reliable in the community. We have pastors, we have priests, we have many people that can connect you to someone who can help you. Yes, but for us, I'm sure we are going to share our contacts. In case someone wants to reach out, you can reach out. We can support you, and also you can support someone else, because especially when you talk about issues like suicide, Nyeri, we are leading. Currently, we are leading with the cases of suicide, people commit suicide, and we are trying to do a lot. So that it's unfortunate. We are not happy we are leading. It's unfortunate. So I would want to remind each and every one of us to really care so much about how we respond to other people. Once someone shares something to you, you don't have to be a counselor or a psychologist to help them. You just need to be empathetic. Put yourself in their shoes. Imagine what they are passing through. And also imagine that is your sister, that is your mother, that is your dad. Someone said the dance of a madman is very interesting until he or she is your relative. Thank you, Millie.
You're welcome. Thank you very much, Psychologist Baraka. I'm glad for your time. And to my viewers, you have heard, this is not just a light thing. We need to really focus on mental health and wellness. And if you have someone out there, you feel like they are going through this, support them. And if you're going through this, the first step is to accept I have an issue, and then you can be able to get the help you want. If you have someone out there who is suffering from substance abuse, you can talk to Psychologist John, and they can guide you to the ADN. We said he works here at ADN, Christ the Good Shepherd. It's a rehabilitation and a wellness center. So feel free to contact him. He will share his contact. Feel free to reach out to us. And again, thank you. Kindly share, subscribe, and like. John, give us a parting shot, and also share your contact where they can get you.
Thank you so much, Millie, for hosting me. In case someone wants to reach out for any psychological support, psychosocial support, I am based at Caritas Nyeri, Christ the Good Shepherd Rehabilitation Center, Edona Center, is owned by the Archdiocese of Nyeri. I'll give my contacts: 0742 044 681. 0742 044 681. You can reach out to me anytime, and I'll be glad to be of help to you. Even for other services, public speaking and all that, we are trying to sensitize our communities, in your institutions. I'm sure we will be there to support. Thank you so much.
And remember, it is okay to not be okay. Thank you.